So I got hold of a 1978 Fender Vibro Champ. I knew the speaker was old, tattered, and had a little bit of a rip in it. There's a photo coming up. And I replaced it with a Jensen P8R. Here are the comparisons. Okay, I know which one I like. Definitely the Jensen is a big upgrade on the Oxford. But there are a few things to talk about, I think. First of all, the Oxford, you can dial in a nice tone. I think it does have a kind of vintage sound to it, for sure. Whenever you are going to mod something, I think you need to keep in mind why you're doing it, right? And for me, I know that amp as it was, the way it couldn't handle bass, damaged speaker or old speaker, whatever you want to think, I'm leaning towards the fact that it was ripped, is going to affect the sound heavily. It's not going to be nice to mix when you record it, in my opinion, for the music that I know I'm going to play. So the Jensen really is much better at dealing with the bass frequencies, and also is much brighter. Let's listen to a couple of examples. So I've snipped out a couple of bits to help maybe shape my point, prove my point, I'm not sure. First of all, the lower volumes. The Oxford can handle it, it sounds okay, but there's a little bit too much to me when there's those bass notes. It's too much. When I listen to the Jensen, it sounds bassy, but it pulls back, it's a bit more rounded, sounds a bit woodier, check it out. So you get, for me, the right sound of the guitar there. Now, I could have set this whole test up and made the original Oxford sound awful, because, in fact, when you turn the tremolo up much more, I think it's the intensity, much above 3 or 4 in its current state, it sounds really bad. I think the speaker having to move all of the time in its the state that it's in, it really struggles. It sounds a bit flabby, it sounds a bit farty, for want of a better word. Let's listen to when the volume goes up and the trem is on. So remember, this is the trem where I think it sounds okay. So anytime you hit something a bit more bassy, it pushes out far too much for me, the bass comes right up, and you still get a nice bit of tremolo on there. As I say, if I'd have boosted the tremolo levels any higher, oh, no, not good. Jensen, here's the Jensen. It's just smoother. The reason I really like the Jensen as well, it is a little brighter, which you would expect, it's a new speaker, but the way it is so balanced with the tremolo that it shimmers for me across the spectrum. When I play a little higher, this doesn't sound awful on the original Oxford. That isn't a bad tone, right? It's bitey, but for me, I'd like it a little smoother, and I'd like to hear the tremolo be kind of even. So overall, yeah, I'm pleased. I'm pleased I changed it. I think there's a lot of merit for keeping old speakers. I think when I bought this, I knew that the speaker was ripped, so I kind of knew I would have to do this. Would I keep a perfect one? I'd like to hear it. I'd like to hear a perfect old speaker, and yeah, I think there's a lot of merit for keeping them. A lot of people say, you know, why change out for these new speakers unless you really need to, because part of the sound of the amp is that, part of the beauty of it is what that speaker will bring, which I kind of agree with. But this is now, for me, just going to be a great recording amp. The final thing I'm going to say is, of course, this was a loop. The same sample was played every single time, and you will alter the way you play. So if I hated that bassy kind of sound that's coming through, I would just, you'd adapt to the amp, right? You'd just pull yourself back. You wouldn't be so aggressive. And I think that's true when you hear this. When you listen through to those kind of samples, they don't always fit. And I think I will adapt also to the brightness of the Jensen, kind of dial back a little bit on the aggression, but still get that nice clarity. So overall, very happy. I hope this has been helpful. I want to give a shout to the Premier Guitar article, which did a whole rundown of all the amplifiers along with some audio, and that's what I listened to first, and I picked the Jensen P8R and moved on from that. So check them out, because they did a really good job of comparing all the speakers, and there's a good few different options out there. So if you don't like the way the Jensen sounds, check out that article and you'll find more.